Hey everyone, welcome to our second live interactive training session. I'm GP, one of the customer experience specialists at D4H, and I'm joining in from Toronto, Canada. I also have Pat joining in, and let him introduce himself.
Good morning, folks. My name is Pat. I'm also a customer experience specialist here at D4H. I'm based in Victoria in Australia. So, good early morning from me. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Great to have you all here.
Fantastic. These sessions are live, so if you are joining in from X, LinkedIn, YouTube, drop us a chat. It's going to be appearing on our screen. We also have Amy in the background who's going to be pulling levers, and she's going to be helping out with us on the questions and also do some few tricks as we go. Cool. So let's take a look at some of the things that we are going to be going over during the presentation today and the demonstration. Uh, this is a rich agenda, and you will see it as we go. And in terms of what we are going to be covering, we'll demonstrate how equipment categories, kinds, and items are created in D4H. We will look at how locations are created in D4H and also how items are moved from one location to another. We'll also look at how we can place items within items, such as placing a first aid kit in a compartment of a fire truck. Then we'll be going over equipment inspections, repairs, supply levels, and equipment settings. We'll also be taking questions as we go, so please feel free to blow up the chat. We have Amy monitoring the chat as well. And before we jump into the real demo, I would like to know if you're from where you are joining in. That way we can give you a shout out on the live stream. Pat,
It's a
without
lot.
further ado, let's take it away.
Okay, folks, and please do shout in. It's great fun seeing the names pop up from all over the world, especially because, names you recognize as well. So you'll start to recognize those names. So, excuse me, folks. I'm just going to move it to a bigger screen so I can get a good view of what's going on. So, looking at the dashboard, you can see we can access our under logistics equipment. This is where we have all our items of equipment. If we move into categories, so this is where we can start to organize our equipment based on categories and kinds. So the category is your top level. So basically the goal here is to digitize your inventory. Where is the item? Is it in the fire truck or the ambulance? Or if it is in the ambulance, which compartment it is? Who has the item? Has somebody checked it out? Is it fit for purpose? Need of repair? Is resupply thresholds being reached? These are all the kind of things we're trying to track here in D4H and simplify it for you and your team. But the first step in that process, even apologies, early morning, is to have your equipment organized, and the top level is in categories. So this is a very broad description. So it could be items like vehicles, response bags, communications devices, or as we've got here, medical equipment, storage, uniform, vehicles I already mentioned. So to add a category, really straightforward, just create our category using this button here in the top right hand corner, give it a title. So we'll say, I'm just going to create one called Go Bags or something like that, create category. And we have our categories here available. Underneath our categories, we can create kinds, and this is just being a little bit more targeted in what we're describing. So under communication devices, you can see we've got PLB, personal locator beacons, or satellite phones, or portable radios. So we might add another kind under that. So communication device, so we'll just say a cell phone. And that is definitely reusable equipment. If it was disposable supply, so if it were something like gloves or masks, something you use once and dispose of, you would call it disposable supply. Or if it's a vehicle, we would log it as a vehicle. And then we can log cost per hour, cost per use, cost per distance. Using a cell phone is pretty negligible, so we probably wouldn't associate a cost with that. So I can create my kind from there. And very quickly, you can see we start to build up a library, so we can start to understand what equipment we have and what types of equipment. So just pausing for a moment, just say hi to everyone. Hi Ian, hi to David, Neil, Stephen, Embel, Vignesh. Vignesh was when I speak with you yesterday. I hope you're well today. And thank you everybody else for joining.
Perfect. Thank you, Pat. All right, team. So we've got folks joining in from EU. That's probably late in the evening. So thank you for staying up for the live stream. They definitely deserve a shout out on the live stream. Cool. Amy, let's fire up my screen on the live stream, and we'll take a look at how we can go about creating. Okay, that's better. Yeah, I paused for a second there. So what we are going to be looking at is at how you can create items in D4H. There are two scenarios that I'm going to be taking you through here. So scenario number one, you could be a customer who already have items in your D4H account. And if that's the case, most likely the items that you're receiving are, could be like a top up, meaning that you are just adding additional equipment to your inventory. And if that is the case, we have a feature called duplicating items. Only thing to keep in mind before you duplicate an item, make sure the system will always copy paste the exact same information you have in that item. So double check the category you have created, the kind, the model, manufacturer, all that information, because once you duplicate, let's say 10 items, system will create 10 items, and if you have if you have made a mistake, you will have to sort of go into these items and change these entities one at a time. We do have a bulk feature that I'm going to show you, but just a heads up, if you are going to be duplicating a item, just please make sure that item is fully it has all the details that is accurate. So let's take a look at one of the items I have in the inventory. So I have a category called medical, and I have a kind called thermometers. Under that, I have this specific item. Moment I go into the item, I have an option at the bottom towards our right hand corner that says duplicate item. If I click into it, system is going to ask me, hey GP, how many items would you like to create? And let's say if I want to create two items, and moment I clicking into create items, system is going to create two thermometers in my account. And as you can see, these two are the two brand new items that got created in my account. The scenario number two is where you are getting, let's say, a brand new model or a pretty much different thermometer to your account. If that's the case, we got you covered. All you need to do, go to the relevant kind and clicking into add item. From here, system will automatically pull up a unique reference number, because this is what can be used as your reference number to search for the item. This can also be a name, but always make sure it is unique. But if you do accidentally add a duplicate or an existing reference number, system will give you a warning over here saying that, hey, this is not unique, you got to change the reference number. In this example, I'm going to keep the reference number that the system created, and I'm going to click into create item. Then the system is going to take you to a brand new page where it will ask you to add additional information about the item that you are creating now. Starting from the top, that's a reference number which we have added, but if you need to change it, you can always go in and update the reference number. But do make sure you click it into refresh, which will validate whether the unique number that you added is genuinely unique or not. Status, quite straightforward. If the thermometer is actually working, it's fully operational, you would keep it as current. You have lost, inactive, retired, and wish list, which will go in a second. Um, if the item is critical, meaning that if you would like the system to send you an alert if it goes out of service, you would enable this option. And if you would like to monitor this item closely, you can enable the option over here. Next up is the locations. So over here you can have the location added of the item. So what I can do, I can go to update location and I can select the item from, I can select the location from here. Underneath that, system is going to ask you to add additional information with regards to this item. You may already have the manufacturers and the model names created. If that's your case, if you're clicking into that drop down, system is going to display all the manufacturer names. But of course, if it's a brand new manufacturer, you can click into create new and add that manufacturer to the system. In my case, I'm gonna pick one of these options, and I am going to give it a model as well. Oh, you also have the option to change your category if you need to, and also the kind. The other two options at the bottom, there could be a scenario where some of these thermometers have been issued to you by a supplier. If that's the case, we can have these suppliers created in your account. That way you can generate reports and identify who supplies most number of items to your organization or your team. We also have funding sources, meaning that there could be certain items that have been issued to you as part of the grant. If that's the case, please make sure you select the funding sources. We'll be going over this as we go deep into the demonstration. Any additional information you think that is relevant with regards to this item, you can add them under notes. Uh, I've seen customers adding, what sort of item details. So because some of the items come with a description, and they just copy paste that information here. But of course, you have the option to keep it empty as well. If you are going to be using our barcoding functionality, this is where you would type in your barcode. Or if you are going to be assigning our barcodes, we have a separate help article which will pull up as we go. But this is going to be useful if you are going to be using our equipment management mobile application. Let's go further down on this page. We have serial number. Some of the items may contain a unique serial number or unique ID. You can paste that item here, and any identifying marks, that could be the color of the item, or any labels that you think we need to mention. You can mention those over here. And right at the bottom, you have a bunch of date functionalities. And based on the scenario, based on the requirement that you have, you can fill these dates. One thing to highlight here, the expiry date system will uh, trigger emails if you have indicated expiry dates. So that is something you may need to consider if the item that you're adding is date sensitive. And once you've added all the information, you go to the bottom. And if costing is something you're going to be monitoring closely, we have two options to define costing. You can define costing per hour. This is going to be working hand in hand with our personnel and training module. And if you do not have access to this module, give us a shout to sales at D4H.com, and we'll send you details about our personnel and training module. Per use, meaning that if you're going to be using this thermometer for, let's say, for an incident for 3 hours, what's the cost if we were to use this item for, let's say, 3 consecutive hours? All of these functionalities are going to work hand in hand with our personnel and training module. And once you've done all the changes to your item, go to the bottom and click into save changes. This will save all the information we've added and give us a confirmation to confirm, saying, look, GP, the information has been saved. You can also take this one step further by adding a profile photo. So I'm just going to quickly pick one of the thermometers. I'm assuming I have a picture on this. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah. There it is. Perfect. Item is in. And as you can see, you can upload a picture to your items as well. I'm going to hand this over back to Pat, who will give you more details about the equipment management platform.
Thanks, GP. So what we're going to be looking at next is creating physical locations and moving items between those physical locations, because that's one of the key pieces of your equipment. Where is it? Who has it? And that's what we can track here in D4H. So you'll see here on my map, you'll see the different location markers. So that is telling me the physical locations where we have equipment stored. To add a location here over on the right hand side, just click add location. That's what it says in the tin. It will create a new location here. So we'll call this, we'll just say the storage or training building, actually is a good one. Building, and then we can bundle it under, so it might be bundled under fire station or something like that. So anyway, we'll select on the map, we'll put somewhere else. So you can zoom in and select your exact location. I'm not going to zoom in too much. I'm just going to take a very rough location. That will do. Save my changes. And now you'll see here in my list of locations, when I click back into locations, we'll see we've got a new marker on the map to show that additional location, which is down here and marked as unbundled. So you can bundle the locations based on some organizing principle that makes sense to you and your team. So look, if we look at one of these locations, so if I go into this storeroom 1, for example, that will show me all of the equipment in this storeroom. So you'll see now the total weight, the total value, and the number of operational items, if any are unserviceable. It's all summarized here on top of the screen, and also the physical location of this storeroom. Excuse me. And underneath it, we can see all of the items that we've stored here. So lots of sat phones. We've probably got too many. Maybe we've got delivery. So we need to start sending these out to the different stations or members. So what we can do is we can use this move items over here, and we can use this to bulk move items from the storeroom to other locations. So if I just click add, that shifts them across from storeroom 1, and we are going to then select move selected equipment, and then it will offer me the locations that we want to change it to. So let's move it to the one we just created, the storeroom building. Comment, maybe we're going to put in a comment about that we've got a new delivery, or explaining some details, or maybe a link to instruction documents, whatever it is. And we can move those items there. So we can very quickly shift our inventory around if we need to. Even in an emergency, we could do it quite quickly to move items between the teams who need them at different locations. The other things we can do with locations is sometimes it's not a physical location. Sometimes it's a person. Someone may need to take the equipment home with them. Maybe they're on call, so they need the work laptop or something. So we can actually move items to a person in a similar way. So let's go into our storeroom 1 again. Let's have a look at this satellite phone 16. And what we can do is, whoops. Apologies, I've gone to the wrong screen. It's up here. If I just click move items, move selected equipment, and under location, we can select issued to member. So I'm not moving it to a physical location, I'm assigning it to a person. So I'm going to select member. I'm going to say me, because I have to take it home. And we can add a comment there explaining why I'm taking it when it comes up. Okay, so need for on call. So it's somewhere to add notes, record our information, and we can put in a status change if we want, and then move the item to that location, which is not a location, it's to me, but at least now we know where the item is. It can be a huge problem, especially in volunteer organizations, keeping track of equipment like this. So this makes it very easy for people to do these kind of movements of locations. And this can all be done from the mobile app on your mobile device. So you can install the D4H app, and you could use a barcode scanner or a NFC tags, things like that, to show where are located. Very quickly, one thing you'll see across lots of areas in this is the ability to export. So pretty much whatever we're looking at on this page, so equipment by location, we can export as a spreadsheet, or inventory or supply levels. Lots of quick options here on the right-hand side to filter to specific items. I've added locations, I've moved items. Was there anything else to cover in this area, GP? My
No,
surrogate
we're
memory.
good. No, it's all good. We are getting quite a few questions, so I think let's get a
Excellent.
few questions fired up on the screen. Amy,
Sound good.
could you bring one of the questions on the screen, please?
So that question is, what is the difference between adding a value when you select the model of an item versus adding a value on a per use at the bottom? This is in the context of it being disposable supplies. GP, I'm not sure in that case, is there a huge difference?
This really depends on what sort of items they have. So let's say I'm gonna take N95 masks for an example. You may receive two different batches, and one batch was sent on, let's say, 1st of July, and the other one was sent on 31st of July. And accordingly, based on the manufacturer, these will have different expiry dates. So instead of putting everything under one um, batch, I would create two batches. Let's say the initial batch was 100 boxes of N95 masks. That would be a single item, but obviously you have 100 inside that, and thereby you can define the 1st of July of 20, let's say 2026, as your expiry date one. And for the second batch, you create a brand new item and you put that 100 or 200 batch that you got, and you define the expiry date two. So that's something you can consider. And in terms of as to why we have it at two places, if you are going to be getting items that have identical expiry dates, cost per use and all that, you can define that at the kind level, or else you can have these cost per use defined at the item level. Item level is the best if your cost is going to be varying based on the supply, because this could be due to inflation. The distributor or the manufacturer changed the pricing from 1st of July to 31st of July. If that's the case, you're better off defining at the item level. That way you can carry these two exact same products, but with two different pricing point or costing points.
So a question here, is it possible to configure the data in the header section? For example, instead of total weight in kilograms, show total volume in gallons. I can half answer this. I know it's definitely possible to change from kilograms to pounds. So you could, if depending on what, if you're imperial or metric. I don't believe gallons is an option, GP, is it? Of volume?
Uh, I
Which
just need to
we track
double
at the
check.
moment?
It should be something that is in there. If not, we are happy to log this as a feature request, Carlos. But that's a great point.
Are you better adding photo to the model and not the item? As if you want to item, it will only display for one item. If you add it to the model, it will display for all of those items. That's a really good question. I know when I started with D4H a little under a year ago, I kind of tried to figure that one out myself. And the conclusion I came to on that one, Ian, with GP and the team's help, is that if there is a lot of an item, so if it is something like a satellite, say an inReach, where you might have 20 or 30 of them, you probably just need the item added at the not the individual item level, but rather the created in the settings. So then they will all have the same image. However, if it's something a more expensive piece of equipment that's quite it has unique marks, in that case, I think it would be more appropriate to add a unique photo of that item. So vehicles, large items, the things you're not going to have a lot of, I think you could definitely take individual photos of them and add them. It would also help with if there are identifying marks, maybe there is electrical tape of a particular color or a dent somewhere or a cracked screen, and these things can help you identify those items.
I might have answered that one, Pat, because I saw this coming in on the chat. So I think I probably answered
Yes,
this.
you
Yeah.
addressed it in the first one. Yeah.
I think we had two questions from you, Michael. So I must have jumped the gun when I saw your first question. But pretty much it's doable. As I said, it depends on your scenario. If you have two separate expiry dates, you're better off creating two separate items, so two different batches. That way you can set the two unique expiry dates for those two batches. All right, interesting questions. Fantastic. Let's get my screen on the live stream, Amy, and we'll show some of the other cool features we have. Alrighty. One of the features that I wanted to highlight was that the bulk features we have that we introduced a few months ago. Let's say, for example, so I'm in my thermometer kind, and I can see all my thermometers in the account. And if I need to do a bulk change, let's say if I need to change the model number of these four thermometers to the one that is ending with 439, if that is my use case, I simply need to check mark those four items. I go into bulk action, I go to edit. From here, what I do, I select the manufacturer. In this case, it's this one, and my model name is going to be the 439 number. And moment I do this, I'm able to update the model number of bunch of items in one go. Earlier, it was a bit of a trouble where you need to go into individual items. We heard your feedback, and engineers worked tirelessly on this and introduced bunch of um, bulk editing features. I know some of the customers on this chat have reached out to us asking updating bulk locations. It is something that we are going to be looking into in the future. But as you know, we get a lot of feature requests, and we are trying to manage everyone's expectations versus demand versus the ROI and all the other factors. All right. Anything else to highlight on this, Pat, before I jump into the nesting features we have in the platform?
No, I think you covered it nicely. The bulk action features, that was a bit of a game changer for us when it came out a few months ago. We got a lot of happy feedback around that one. It saved a lot of people a lot of time. It's quite straightforward, I think.
Absolutely. We have a question from John. So they want to know, is there a report or a journal to show changes of equipment by like changes? I mean, who did the changes basically? So if you go to a specific item and if you scroll to the bottom, you will see it's a hidden gem, to be honest, and you click in to show edit. It will display the changes that were done along with the personnel. Uh, I know some of the customers may raise this because we don't show the exact change that was done. It is a feature in our pipeline, but for the time being, you can literally see who made the change along with the timestamp and a summary of the change as well on the right hand side. But for you to find that out, you'll have to go to the bottom and show edit. That will pull up all the history or the audit details of the item.
Oh, so a new question come in from Carlos. Apologizing, you missed it earlier. You miss it, Carlos. It hadn't come up at the start of the conversation. Is equipment management appropriate to track vehicles in the fleet, or is it best just to have status boards just for that? And I can tell you, we've lots and lots of customers who do track vehicles, and even aircraft in D4H, not as their primary maintenance tool or anything for aircraft, but lots of people do track large items of vehicles in the system successfully.
Yeah, I think Pat, we can definitely add a +1 to Carlos' request, because I know a couple of customers asked me when I was in New Jersey that they have high valued items in the inventory, and they want to make sure these can be geolocated. So it is something that we can consider in the future as and when we get
Okay.
those requests. Yeah, because if the item is super expensive, they want to make sure that
Yeah.
it is
Satellite
safeguarded.
trackers and
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Alrighty. I'm going to jump into the nesting or parent item scenario. For this, I'm going to go old school. So please excuse my, inability to create artworks and, presentation, the little tiny gadgets. But this is what I came up with because I want to explain sort of what we are about to do and give you a visualization before we actually get that set up in D4H. So imagine the scenario here is that you have a fire truck. Inside the fire truck, you have two compartments. The compartment names are ERT box 1, ERT box 2, and our objective is to place one of the first aid kits to one of the uh, compartments we have. So I'm going to be selecting ERT box 1. So ideally, this is what we want to be ending up once we set up this in D4H. The reason why we brought this topic up is that we've seen so many customers creating uh, trucks as a location in D4H. It is painful to me, it's heartbreaking to me when I see these things. And that's one of the reasons why we are going heavy on this. Please keep the questions coming, because you will have better understanding of your own inventory, and we are happy to take these questions as we go. So I'm going to demonstrate this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to quickly show you as to how I would approach it. Uh, the first thing what we need to do, we need to make sure that our truck is created in the account. So in my case, I have a truck called Grace, and this is how the truck looks like. I have everything created, and then we need to create these two compartments. So for that, what I did was I'm going to go to my categories, and I'm going to, obviously I have created a category called storage, and under that I have a kind called compartments, and over here I have created two uh, items, my compartment 1 and compartment 2, and as you can see, the locations have been set as grays because these two compartments are placed inside my fire truck. I'll quickly show you as to how you would go about changing these locations just to refresh your memory. And moment you go to the item details, you can go to update details and come to the located in option. From here, if you go to update location, you will see a few drop downs. So in my case, my truck is located in vehicle bay 1, from there I can select the truck, and moment I select that one, I can tell the system where exactly the compartment 1 is located. So from here, once you've added your location, go to the bottom and save changes. That will mark your compartment or the box as placed inside of a truck or inside of a storeroom that you have.
question
That's
there
the
from Michael GP. He's asking how many layers can you go with your nesting, and I'm just seeing as you're here, I thought it was a good time to address it. So when we locate an item, we can nest it. So he's asking how many times we can create level, or how many levels we can create.
There's no limit as such, as long as you are familiar with the top layer. You can pretty much create this layers over layers, and you can go to infinite numbers. But obviously, your scenario could be different. But if you're finding it difficult, drop us a request to help@d4h.com. We'll help you out with the setting up these nesting and parent items, and all these complicated scenarios. But systematically, there's no restriction as to how many layers you can have. Cool. Next thing is that I'm going to go to my first aid kit. So I have also created my items. So this is the item I have. So first aid kit has been created. As you can see, it is created. And if my objective is to place this item inside the truck, I have two options. Option number one, I can go to the item just like this by searching through our universal search functionality. Go to the update details from here and change the location from storeroom north to my compartment, just like I showed you before. So you would go to the vehicle bay 1, that is where my fire truck is parked up. I select the truck, and then I can go to the compartment, and moment I click it into save, this item is going to be moved from my warehouse to the um, compartment 1 inside my fire truck. This is the option 1 that you can consider. Option number 2, let's say you are looking to move multiple items to your compartment or to your vehicle, if that is your scenario. I think Pat showed this to you, but I'm just going to quickly show this as well. So for that, what we can do, you can go to locations, you go to move items, top right hand corner, and from here I am going to search for first aid. This is my item. I bring it to the right hand side, and from here I can even select anything. So for example, let's say if you have N95 masks somewhere here, let's say we're going to bring everything here. You go to move selected equipment. From here we now need to select the compartment or the vehicle wherever that you are moving these items. So from the first drop down, you go to the vehicle bay 1. Second drop down, you would select your truck, and if you want to stop at the truck level, by all means go ahead and click it and move. But if you want to place these items inside your compartments, you would select the compartment and click it in to move. If you would like, you can add a comment. If you would like, you can mark the items as operational versus non-operational. And moment you click it in to move, system is going to take these items from your warehouse or wherever the items were originally situated and place them inside the truck. And if I now search for grays, and if I go to the truck, and if I go to the bottom, it will tell me, hey GP, you've got a bunch of items in your inside your truck. And if I go to the compartment box 1, you've got these items inside the compartment. And I can go to the bottom and see the individual items as well. And if I go to my first aid kit, it will tell me the items that I have inside the first aid kit as well. Amy, I'm happy to take any questions if you have any.
I think we're good to carry on, GP.
Okay, fantastic. Um, Anything else you would want to highlight here, Pat? You good?
No, I think that's quite covered quite well. Any other settings that we haven't touched on there? No, I think that's quite straightforward.
Alrighty.
Well,
Cool.
tricky, but you've explained it in a straightforward way.
It's all good. Yeah. Again,
Yeah, we
apologies.
got lots of questions on this.
Yeah, apologies on the artworks. It was a last minute thing, and I thought that might sort of give you. It will help you to visualize the things before we see it in the product itself. One quick feature I just want to show you is that some customers come to me and they ask me, "Hey GP, I have some documents related to certain equipment. These could be user guides, how-to guides, or even pretty much manufacturer details." What you can do is that you can go to that item, you can upload it directly as an attachment. However, if you think the manufacturer documents or the manual or the catalog is common to all the items. In my case, if it is common for all the thermometers I have in my account, I would upload that PDF or the Word document in the kind level, which is thermometers. And if you go to the bottom, you have an upload option. Here you can upload that file. That way your team can refer to that catalog or the product guide to get more information on how to operate it, how to use it, how to discard it if it's a, if it's a, if it's that type of an item. All right. So next item I have in my agenda is inspections. For this, I'm going to go to my inspections tab. So inspections are going to come in handy, especially when you need to do an audit for your equipment. These audits could be annual. These could even be ad hoc audits. But the idea here is that as an equipment administrator, we want you to stay on top of these inventory in case you get questioned as to why certain items go missing versus why the some of the items are not having not having enough supplies in your inventory. In any of these cases, we've got you covered with inspection feature we have. And the inspection feature that we are about to demonstrate went through a major revamp, and I'm sure you know we did a live stream on this earlier. So we now have inspection steps, which we will demonstrate as we go in this demonstration. So let's go ahead and look at a scenario. So my scenario here is that I have a truck called Grace, and I need to carry out a monthly inspection for all the items that have been placed inside the truck. That is my use case. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into add inspection, and here my title is going to be, I'm going to say Grace, all items, and I'm also going to bundle this under vehicle inspections monthly, because I may have other vehicles that may need monthly inspections. And then I'm going to click into add inspection. This is going to create an inspection in my account. When it comes to inspection steps, I want to highlight here, this is not mandatory, because you may not want to have inspection steps. If that is your case, don't worry about it. You can skip this section altogether, and you can add some information about the inspection under the description box. However, you may need to request, or you may need to ask the person who is carrying out these inspections to go through a set of instructions or set of things when they are looking at the inventory, or when they are going through these items. If that is your scenario, what I would do, I would go to add step and start adding your inspection steps. So in my case, I'm going to add the first one as is the item fully functional, and I'm going to add another one saying asking the personnel to double check on the expiry date. And let's say if these two are my inspection steps, and under the description here, this could be, for example, if the user needs to be wearing PPE, anything that is related to this inspection that you think that's going to be helpful for the person who is carrying out the inspection, you can put them under description. This is a free text box. You can just copy paste the information over here. The next one is, how frequent would you like to carry out this inspection? At the beginning, I mentioned that this is an inspection that we would want to do on a monthly basis. So what we would do, we would go to the option over here, and we would change this to monthly. This will ensure that the system does or reminds you of this inspection on every month. The one at the bottom over here, which says remind before, if you would like system to trigger an email before the inspection expires or inspection is due, this is where we would define that number. So what I'm going to say, I'm going to do, let's say, remind me 7 days before the inspection is due. If this is a time sensitive, this is sort of an item that you monitor 24/7, and if you want this item to go out of service, if if the inspection is not done on time, I would make sure that this feature is enabled, which will make sure that system marks this item or takes it out of inventory so that these cannot be used in exercises or events that you are using. Alrighty, these two filters are going to be the life savior for us when this because we are trying to filter out some of the items that are specifically located in our truck. So over here, what I would do, I would select all items because we want to make sure all the items inside my truck are captured. Under the located in option, I would select just the items in a location, and from here I am gonna select my truck which is located in my vehicle bay. And as you can see, moment I select the truck, it tells me, hey GP, you've got 11 items to be inspected. I would double check, and I also need to make sure the inspection is marked as active. Once that is done, go to the bottom and clicking into save changes. System will save your inspection details, and since this inspection was just created, it's gonna tell me, hey GP, you need to do this inspection because it's due today. So if you are to do the inspection, all we need to do, clicking into inspect now, system is gonna display the two inspection steps that we added. So I'm gonna take again a couple of examples here. Let's say this inspection step is relevant for my item, whereas the second one is not applicable. So I'm going to be selecting that. And if I go to advanced options, I have a few other additional features that are going to be opened up for me, meaning that I can add any additional details with regards to this inspection. I can send this item to a repair. So if I were to do that, it's going to ask me what's the repair all about, what was the cause of the repair. I can assign this to myself or to any other member in the account, and I can trigger an email, and I can also change the progress of that item. You must have noticed that the moment I had the second inspection step as failed, or the moment I did not have any selection at all, the pass option was disabled. That is to preserve your inspection result, because we want either all the inspections to be passed, or the user needs to make sure that any inspection step that is not relevant is marked as not applicable. That's the only way you can go ahead and pass the inspection. When you do pass the inspection, I've seen a lot of customers, they do take a picture as well, and they paste it, or they upload it to D4H as a proof, saying that, look, I inspected this item, it is present, it is functioning, it is good to go. And once you've done the inspection, system gives you a confirmation. And if you go to the previous results, system will display all the inspections that have been carried out for this item, along with its details, any comments that may have been added, and any documents or any supporting files that you have uploaded as part of this inspection. And at the far end, it will give you a timestamp over here. Pat, anything I missed?
Nope, I think we covered it there. You kind of touched on the next bit that we're going to be looking at, which is around repair. Well, one of the next things around repairs is one item I know we were going to touch on quickly if we have time. We're a little bit pressed for time, so we'll see how we go. No, but I think that was good. Thank you.
Perfect. I know time might not be in our favor. I'm happy to take any questions we have. If not, we can go through a couple of other things we have in the agenda.
So any new questions, Amy? Anything we can address, or should we carry on?
Looks like we are good to go. Let's keep going.
This is all good. Excellent. Okay, so next on our agenda, we've looked at creating and completing our inspections, generating equipment reports. So this is something we can do from pretty much anywhere in our equipment. So if we go to locations, for example, I think I may have alluded to this already. On the right-hand side, you'll see we've got an option to export an inventory or a spreadsheet or a supply levels. We can export those from there. So there are already pre-made reports. They might be just hidden behind myself, a GP in the corner, but if you can kind of see where I'm circling there. So if we go to different places, you will see that those same options as well to export, and it will tell you the ones with the X obviously are Excel, or if it's PDF, it will show PDF. But in this section, it is mostly the reports are to Excel. If we want to get a bit fancier, we can go to intelligence reports, where we can create customized reports, and that will give us some more capabilities. So equipment items or inspection results, for example, we could run a report from here on those. And when you run a report in this section, you can save it so that as a template, as a background. So just click Save Custom Report, so you can quickly run that report anytime you need to. So it just gives you an extra layer of capability, and that works for most, actually lots of sections in the personnel and training module. So lots of reporting options. If you have specific questions on reporting or specific reports you'd like to see, please do let us know by writing to help@D4H, or even letting us know in the chat here. We're always looking for ways to improve this. So if you have feedback on what we can do better around reporting, we would love to hear those. So we've looked at the reporting. We've looked at the locations. Some of the other reports you'd mentioned, GP?
Yeah, I think we pretty much covered the reporting side. Obviously, reporting is something we will be enhancing as we go. We do have a question from Sean asking, how do you delete a category?
I can touch on that very quickly. So if we go into one of our categories, they're all full. Oh, so I've got empty ones here. I can actually do one of those. So let's go into Tools, Update Details. Is it from here? What we can do is we're in Tools. Actually, I can't delete it. I have to delete the kinds in it first. But once I delete those kinds, so you'll see from this view, once I hover on the different kinds, so if I were to delete pumps, let's see if I've got an empty one. Actually, that might allow me to delete it. Nope, we've been too thorough, GP. We've put in too much. Weapons, great, we've got no weapons. So I can delete weapons. When I select delete, it will ask me to type delete, because we want to be sure that we really mean it, and then I can delete that permanently from there. So really straightforward. From the screen, and as you saw there, we can delete the categories and kinds as well really easily by just clicking on those buttons as we hover.
Perfect, Pat. So one prerequisite here is that if you are looking to create, if you are looking to delete a category, you have to make sure that there are no kinds underneath it, and also there are no items. If there's an item or if there's a kind, the system will not let you delete a category. You need to sort of have a bottom to top approach if you are going to be deleting these entities. Bear in mind, deleting is something that we cannot reverse, so please double check before you delete data out of D4H. Just a heads up on that. I think we are getting a couple of questions here.
Oh, that's a good one, Michael. For inspections, and when there's items within items, do inspections specifically have a space to confirm the quantity is present?
I can take that, Pat. Amy, could you pull up my screen, please? All right. So I was going to go over another topic, but let's quickly jump into this question. So, Michael, I think this might not address your use case directly, but what we can consider is that in your inspection, either you may need to break down your inspection, meaning that, let's say, if you take the fire truck example, and if I want to know the items inside the compartment, I would go one step further from my drop down, and I would um, select the compartment from here. And let's say, I think you're probably referring to supply items in this question. There's no direct option for you to change the item quantity as part of the inspection, but you can easily go to the item itself uh, once you've completed the inspection, and then from there you can change the quantities and do the changes from here. I know for a fact that this is sort of a scenario that we've been asked of, so we are happy to add a +1 to your request as well. Pat, we've got one more question.
Items can be disposed of for various reasons, such as expired date, damage, lost, etc. How do you go about doing that? That's from Vignesh in Wellington. So yeah, I can take that one. So within our site team settings, GP, feel free to direct me if I go wrong in the settings here. But under equipment, is it under equipment settings? Yep. I believe. Yeah, perfect. So here's where we can configure the reasons that our equipment has been, or is it in this section? Where we create the unique. So I'm in team settings, equipment.
I would go to team settings, and so go back a page, and let's go to
retired reasons.
That's the one. Yeah.
Bigger part. It has its own tab. So we can actually add retire reasons, and comments would be misuse. Let's just say in the field might be accidental. Dental damage, it may be accidental loss or theft. So there's lots of reasons. You could add retired reasons, and you can create as many as you want here in the team settings. So to access that again, go to team settings, and under equipment, retired reasons. Down here.
Perfect. And not sure who posted that question. So we do have a feature to bulk retire as well. So if you've got 10 items, you can easily bulk retire 10 items with one of these valid retired reasons along with the date. And within a couple of clicks, you are done updating those items as retired or lost, for an instance. One thing I want to quickly highlight here is that we had a few questions about equipment alerts. Amy, could you bring up my screen, please? Cool. So let's say you need to send equipment alerts to other members in your team other than the administrative folks. If that is your use case, administrator would need to go to the team settings, and from here go to the emails and notifications at the bottom, and from here you can go to the qualification alerts, and then you can pick and choose the folks who need to be receiving these alerts. Again, if you're an administrator, you don't have to check mark these, but these could be member plus users or members who are keep an eye on the equipment inventory. And if you do check mark their name, the system will send these equipment alerts. That way they can stay up on top of these expiry or any inspections that are happening in the account. Yeah. Any final questions for myself and Pat? Looks like we've covered everything, Pat. Good job.
Excellent.
All right, everyone. Thank you once again for tuning in to our live stream. These live streams are going to happen often, and please do tune in. And if you would like to see, let's say, personnel and training or incident management, for example, as part of the next live stream, drop us a chat to help@d4h.com, or you can reach out to any of our team members, and we'll happily take a look at what we can do. And thank you once again for tuning in to our live stream.
Thanks, folks. Have a great day or evening or morning, wherever you are in the world. Thanks, GP.
Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
Amy. Working the magic off screen.